What is going on, everybody? Garrett back here, and this was a little bit of a random kind of on the cuff stream that we're going to put together right now. And I'm here with Mr. Planet CHH himself, Christian Hanna. What is going on, brother?
How you doing?
Good, man. I did a review of Nope on my channel a couple days ago when I saw it, and I've been kind of thinking about it a lot lately. I mentioned that on my live stream last night. And I got a message from you last night basically saying, hey, I just got out of it and I had some stuff I wanted to say. And then we said, all right, let's see what we can put together. And this time and this day happened to work out for both of us. So I figured let's go on here. Not expecting a lot of people because it is going to be very spoiler heavy. So if people haven't watched it, they probably don't want to come hear about it right now. Right. But I figure we would dive deep and kind of dissect Nope. Because really quick, like, what are your first thoughts coming out of it last night?
First thoughts coming out of it was, you know what? I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did because I guess I could just say this right at the top. I think Jordan Peele gets way too good a press. I think he's doing some good stuff, but I mean, it's ridiculous. Somebody the other day went on Twitter and was like, oh my God, he's the greatest director ever. And I'll give Jordan Peele credit. He actually saw the post and basically said, you're crazy. Of course I'm not. So it's not a knock on Jordan. It's a knock on the ridiculous press he gets.
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was a kind of a cool thing, especially, you can kind of tell that he's obviously a horror fan. Because I think what do you do? Basically say like, yeah, Carpenter was better than me.
Oh, yeah. And Eli Roth does this series called The History of Horror, and he was all up in that. And if anybody thinks he's not like a horror fan, it's ridiculous because the guy spoke on so many movies that he watched growing up. It wasn't even funny. So he's clearly a massive, massive horror fan. I mean, he's making horror films too. Nobody does that just because they want to get into movies. Like most people don't want to be horror directors anyway. So right. with that being said, I liked it. And I think I said this to you as well. There are a lot of people that get turned off by I don't know if social commentary is the terminology to use specifically for him. It's very much through the point of view of the way he sees life, okay? As an African-American man. If you didn't tell me that he directed this movie, I'll be honest with you. If you just said, hey, guess who directed that movie, I don't even know that he would have been the first person I'd have thought of, quite honestly. Which isn't a knock or a positive thing. It just is what it is. So for a lot of people that don't like Peele, I think this could probably be the one for you, to be honest with you. I was telling Nick, I've got to revisit Get Out, but I think I like this more than Us. I think I like it more than Us. This was a good movie, just a damn good horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I really did like Us a lot. But you know what, though? I haven't seen Us probably since it came out on physical media was probably the last time. So I've seen it twice. So I might want to go back and revisit that one as well, just to kind of see how it compares. Now, right off the bat, when I got out of the theater, I definitely thought Us was better. I kind of put this as the third, my favorite. But the more I kind of thought about it and it kind of stuck with me, and I mentioned this before, is like, if a movie sticks with me for days after, like I start realizing I like it more. So I don't know about you if you feel the same way, but like I mentioned last night, like movies that did that to me, like that I can remember right off the bat was Blair Witch did that to me a lot. Paranormal Activity did that to me. I think Evil Dead 2013 did that to me. Hereditary did that to me. Midsommar did that to me. So, I kind of put that in that category where I continue to think about it. To be honest, you know what else did it to me back in the day with those two movies? Signs and Ring did it to me back in the day as well, where it's kind of like, what did I just see there, And I give him a lot of credit for taking chances. He's not doing your average horror movies. Like he's kind of doing his own thing, which I think is really helping him at the end of the day. Now, I know there's some people in the chat. So what's up, everybody? I don't want to make this a long one today. So I do see you guys and I appreciate you guys jumping in. I'll probably get to you guys in a bit, but what we wanted to kind of talk about today, and hopefully you guys saw the thumbnail where we're going to spoil this pretty good here. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, like now's the time to kind of maybe come back and check this out. after you guys watch it. If you don't plan on watching it, you don't give a shit, then you can stick around and we'll kind of talk to you a little bit about it. But I want to get Christian's thoughts before I start to pick it apart and dissect it. You know, when I went into this movie, I had only seen the trailer. No, like the teaser. Like basically it was just people looking up and then I think they said nope or something. Like I didn't have any idea what this is about except for I heard it was about aliens. That's kind of all I knew going into it, was it had something to do with aliens. And, you know, I'm actually a big fan of alien movies. And I know we talked about that when you texted me yesterday, basically like, oh my God, was this going to be Fire in the Sky? Like, was it going to have a similar vibe? And I kind of felt that way too. And when they kind of made a swerve a little bit in the movie, I was actually a little let down at the time. When you kind of realized that swerve as well, what did you feel? Were you kind of like cool, awesome, or were you like, I kind of wanted more of what I thought this was going to be?
You know, this is what I think it is. The short answer is verbatim what you just said. But the long answer is so many movies when they have reveals are a lot of times can be letdowns. That's just part of it, because sometimes the buildup can be so good, and then the reveals. I mean, take for instance that fucking spider at the end of It Part 2, the original, or even the remake. Quite frankly, you know. But this movie, the buildup was phenomenal. I was just like, what the hell is? Especially when you could see the silhouette above the clouds. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? Like it was great. So when, again, I'll quote Jordan Peele, "Get Out," if you haven't seen it. But when I found out it was like a creature, I don't know if letdown was the word, but it was like I took a swig of sweet tea when I thought I was about to get a sip of Coke. Right. I'm like you. The more I've gotten out of the theater, I've thought about it. I was like, honestly, like that was a pretty. I'll give him credit. I was for sure. If that was a Scream movie, I would have been owned because I would have been wrong. So I appreciate the fact that I was wrong about it. I think it's actually pretty damn cool now when I think about it. I would certainly go watch that movie again. And I thought the cast was good. The lead guy, he was very quiet and chill. And I'll tell you, that part was played, in my opinion, very realistically, because I have friends at work that are exactly like that. They don't emote much. They're very quiet. They don't react. They don't get loud ever. I have friends at work that are just like that guy. So I got sucked into his performance right away. And Keith fucking David was in this movie. How do you? I mean, it's the guy from They Live. John Carpenter's The Thing. He was in Pitch.
Something about Mary.
Pitch. He was in Pitch Black.
Yeah.
So I mean, seeing Keith David here was fucking awesome. I was like, okay, we're on, and I gotta think that Jordan Peele is a big Keith David fan too. So
definitely, he's got to be. Like we talked about earlier, we think he obviously loves the genre because the stuff he's pulling out is very original, and he obviously takes nods here and there from little things, but he makes it his own, and that's kind of like when I realized the reveal. And it went from, hey, I kind of came into this thinking we were getting like an alien abduction movie. We've got flying saucers. We got, they're in that ranch, kind of like where you would think that, you would see alien. And they started talking about like people, spending big money on alien footage and extraterrestrial footage and all that stuff. And there was a scene where we actually got a glimpse of like, holy shit, the aliens are here. Now, I swear that's like freaked the shit out of me. Like that was like level of when I saw signs and that damn thing walked by at the birthday party. Like,
oh my God, that still gets me.
Yeah, man. I remember seeing that in the theater and like literally chills went up and down my spine. Like when I saw that, like he's behind and the thing walks by, because I'm thinking if shit's going to go down, like that's the news clip we're going to get. Like that's what I felt Signs did really well. It wasn't drastic. It was just enough where you're like, holy shit, what the hell is that? And that's kind of what I felt when I saw that first scene where all of a sudden you see Aliens, I'm like, holy shit. And like the way they were moving and stuff, I was like, this is freaking creepy and this is going to be so sick. And then all of a sudden we realized that it was kind of like a hoax. And I'm like, shit, like even if it wasn't a swerve, and all of a sudden from that point on, we realized, okay, this isn't what we thought it was. I kind of almost wish we got a little more of the aliens messing with them type of scenes. Like I wish we got another 3 more scenes like that before the reveal kind of came and realized it was bogus, because man, that was such a heavy scene for me. And that's why I think I was kind of let down when I realized, oh shit, this is not what we're getting. And all of a sudden this goes from an alien abduction movie to a creature feature, like you said. And at first I was just kind of like, shit, you know, like, damn, I wanted more of that. But the more now I think about it back, I'm like, you know, like he tricked us all. And Jordan Peele did, because, you know, there was never a point in time where you thought this thing was going to be what it was. And dissecting it a little bit more and looking at certain things and thinking about it, I kind of feel like he did let us know what was going on, but we just overlooked it, really. You know, because he never told us it was an alien abduction movie. He never told us. It just was people looking in the sky, and there was a lot of assumption there, I think. So, yeah, what did you think about that alien scene?
I agreed. It's funny because when you were bringing that up, I was thinking about it. One thing I'll say is this, dude. I went to the theater last night at 10 p.m. in my hometown, which is very Bible Belt, you know, kind of area, and I was shocked that, dude, it was probably 60% full, and it was the last show of the night. So, dude, this guy's he's getting a fan base. There's no doubt that Jordan Peele, people are going to see it. This movie will make money. There's no doubt in my mind. But that scene, I remember, I like to sit in the very back row of the theater. When you first saw the first alien thing, everybody kind of sat up in their chair, and it was like, oh shit. It got the biggest reaction out of the crowd, and it was, I'll be honest, it was actually kind of fun because people were into the movie. I wouldn't put it on the level of Signs, but a pretty damn good contender in the ballpark of it. The Signs one is phenomenal because of Joaquin's performance in that, but definitely reminiscent and great, and probably the best scene of the movie, if I'm being honest.
I totally agree, and that's why I kind of wish we had more of it, even though in one way people can be like, oh, those aliens look ridiculous and stupid, but that's what kind of made it work for me. It was so simplistic in a way, but it was creepy as hell, you know, in the shadows and stuff.
That's textbook Roswell, New Mexico alien look. You know, my father-in-law was working out there, and he came home with shirts and stuff, and that's exactly the faces and like there's statues everywhere. They go into they just buy into the whole lore of aliens and stuff like that, and the way they think they look, and there's shirts, there's statues everywhere in the desert. So that was 100% Roswell, New Mexico-esque aliens. So I dug that.
And you know what? I will say my theater was sold out. But again, I went at 7:30 on a Friday night. So, I mean, it was kind of prime time. So, yeah, it was sold out. And you're right. Like that moment, people were kind of at the end of their seats. And then kind of after that, there was a guy that sat a couple rows over that snored the whole rest of the movie. But, you know, that was kind of annoying. But, you know, it's kind of what you get, I guess, when you go to movies nowadays. There's always something. But, you know, so we're going to talk really quick about that kind of the swerve there when it goes from alien abduction, you realize that this ship isn't a ship at all. It's actually a monster in itself that can kind of transform a little bit into different objects, which obviously a flying saucer is one. Now, to me, I got, you know, going into this, the way he got it, I got a little Spielberg-esque feel from a lot of the stuff going on there. Aliens included, creature feature, and then I thought to myself, like, it was kind of like Jaws in the sky, like to me. Like this thing was just hunting things down. They were trying to figure out kind of what made it tick. Like it felt very Jaws-esque, but more or less like going on in the sky, and these people are trying to stop this thing. And it basically was like they don't know what to do to get this thing to stop. And I know I mentioned that to you, and as I'm kind of going through and thinking about it yesterday and like dissecting things, I thought about the movie poster really quick again. And then I was like, well, So I'm going to pull it up really quick now if I can figure out how to do the screen share just to kind of show you. And I know Nope has a bunch of different posters, but this is just one that when I Googled imaged, this is one that I saw that kind of, gives the idea. But let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I'm going to see if I can screen share this. Let's see. Share screen. I've never really done this before, so let's see.
Yeah, it should show you whatever tabs you have pulled up, and then.
All right, let's see. All right,
That's
can we see this now? You can see this whole thing?
That's it.
All right, so gang, if you're watching, check this out. Like, this is just one of the images that I found on there. Now, if Jordan Peele kind of wasn't telling us that this movie was kind of a creature feature, I think, we just overlooked a lot, right? Everybody sees these guys looking up into the sky, blah, blah, and aliens. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, like that's kind of Jaws like, right? You got the 4 letters in Nope. It's got that image of everybody looking up in the air. And I don't know, a part of me is like, was this all like a work? Like, is this kind of what he was trying to say? Like, hey, like this, you're getting a little bit of a creature feature here, and it was just very overlooked. I don't know, but I thought it was kind of interesting when you kind of put some of these posters together and see all those images of everybody kind of looking up, and maybe it's just more of of an homage to that iconic poster, right? And I know when I sent it to you, you were like, "Oh, good call on that," because it is kind of interesting the way it turned out. And I was like, "Shit, is he kind of giving us a heads up the whole time, and nobody really saw it?"
Yeah, 100%. Especially when I thought about it, it's like it's exactly the same thing, except the protagonist and antagonist are flipped. Jaws is at the bottom, and the good guys. So yeah, I think it's 100%. And I'm sure that there's no way that was a coincidence. Now maybe I probably none of it. Especially the title. I was like, Nope, 4 letters. Jaws, no letter, 4 letters. I think it's clearly evident when you brought that up. I was like, yeah, that makes all of that just makes perfect sense. I think maybe they had to figure out the name of the movie and they went with Nope afterwards, if I had to guess, but I could be wrong. But the poster, 100%, that had to be that was done on purpose.
Yeah, but there are a couple other posters out there. They have Nope at the bottom when they're looking up. Then they have one, I think, with a horse in the sky. So, I mean, there's other posters out there, but that was just kind of one. And the big ones of them all looking up, kind of how Jaws is technically swimming up, but they're kind of looking up into the sky, which goes back to that kind of Jaws in the sky type thing. Now, another thing I want to talk about with this movie is just kind of breaking it down. And man, like, what did you think of the monkey situation and the chimp? I think I had a little problem at the beginning. Like, the way it started with that scene, I wasn't even sure the movie was starting. Like, I'm like watching this thing and I'm like, oh, is this? I thought it was like an ad for Monkey Paw Productions or something. Like, I didn't even realize that the movie was started when that scene popped up as your first scene. I was kind of like, oh, must be an ad for his Monkey Paw Productions. And then all of a sudden when it turns in the movie, I was like, wait, what? Like, because I didn't know anything about that whole chimp situation at all going into it. So what did you think?
I could see how you could think that. I don't know that I thought it was an ad at first, but I like the monkey stuff, quite frankly, a lot. I really liked midway through where we got to see the monkey killing people on the set. That was fucked up.
Oh yeah.
And I thought Peele actually did a good job of, the kids under the table, and then you see the action of the monkey in front of the couch with the sound. That was good shit. I actually really like that's probably the second best scene to me. I really like that scene because it's just like the kid was helpless. You feel helpless watching it. It's like, what the fuck? That thing was pissed. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I loved the monkey stuff in the movie a lot.
I almost like look at that and I'm like, I liked it so much that I'm like, man, I want a spin-off of this story. Like, I want to know more. I want to know more about this. Like, let's start from the beginning here and go through the whole, career. Kind of like, when Ty West did X, and at the end they showed the trailer for the next one, right? Like the prequel. I kind of almost feel like at the end they would have showed something like, hey, guess what? Like that monkey, because again, there was relevance, but there wasn't with that monkey. Where I'm almost like maybe they're teasing like, this is a movie we're going to get. Like, we're going to get the whole story here. And they're just kind of giving us bits and pieces of it, giving us a taste. Because, again, it was relevant to an extent, but for as powerful of a scene as it was, it didn't. You could have lost that scene, and this whole movie would have been exactly the same. Like that whole subplot could have been gone, and this movie could have never really changed. Obviously they were showing that this kid, because based on the monkey and him, doing that little, explosion fist bump or whatever, I think he thinks he can control animals, this, that, and this, which he's kind of trying to do with this new creature. Like he's saying, hey, I can control this thing. And I understand where they were trying to connect the two. And I also think it was trying to go into, like you said, where Jordan Peele's really good at, using real world stuff into his movies, where I think he was saying a lot where it's like, hey, like people out there nowadays exploit tragedy big time. And where this guy had that room full of memorabilia and he's charging people up the ass to come check it out and to buy some stuff over a tragedy that he was involved in, like he's exploiting the shit out of that. And, there's plenty of people out there that love that kind of stuff, right? And would do the same thing for a horrible story.
Mm-hmm.
So I see where he was kind of going with that. What do you think? Similar?
Similar, and I'm looking at somebody's comment. I know we're not getting there yet. Some people are saying that the monkey thing definitely seems out of place, and they could have done without it. I tell you what, I not only liked it, but I almost would have wanted a little bit more of it. Personally, I thought it was some of the most exciting moments of the film. But two, I think if you took that out, the film may lack a little bit of excitement throughout it, which could have also been a studio thing too. We don't know if maybe that kind of stuff was added in after the fact. We don't know, and I don't know. I can only speculate. But I liked the monkey stuff on pure entertainment value based alone. I can understand how it's not necessary, but I got so much enjoyment out of that scene. I thought it was so suspenseful that without a doubt, I love it. I loved it. But I can understand story-wise why some people would be like, it's not necessary, it's not needed. Yeah, but it's fucking awesome. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it really was. And I think tonally, like, the tone of the movie kind of shifted for a second, too. And I think that helped, like you said, it helped kind of bring things along because, another critique I'll have is it felt a little bit long at times. Like, it was, like, kind of dragging. And I feel like when you added scenes like that, like, it kind of, like, pasted it better. Like, you kind of like, okay, we're on a break. Let's watch this. Okay, this is interesting. It's different. And then we'll go back to what's going on there. And I think all the actors and stuff did well. And another thing that I'm not sure if this is kind of what he was going for, but, OJ, which was the main character's name. And again, that is the same dude from Get Out, correct? He gained a little bit of weight, but I think it was him.
Yeah, he had a country boy body, which I loved. Yeah. He looked like a real fucking dude.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he did great. And what's kind of interesting is he was you could tell, like, not only just his demeanor and his personality, but he wasn't really with the times. He was living up there. He was doing the horse thing. He had like a flip phone. He wasn't really keen on like, taking pictures, doing this, doing that. And, he was the first one that realized like, hey, if I don't look at this thing, like it's not going to do anything to me. And you look at that and you're like, are they trying to say like, don't, like the more you look at things like on social media and all this, the more it kind of gets to you, right? Like this guy was kind of like, I don't like any of that stuff. And he was kind of the one that's like, well, if I turn my back on it, it doesn't affect me as much as if I'm all about it, always looking at it, always. And a part of me was kind of like, is he trying to say like the way the world is now with social media is like, the ones that kind of just don't bother with it much, like don't really get affected by what's going on too much in the world.
Yeah, I think you can certainly make that kind of parallel, whether that's intentional or not. Yeah, totally. I could totally see why you could think that, and I could go there too. I never thought about much of that kind of stuff. I when I got out of the theater, the big thing for me was just that wasn't a fucking alien movie. God damn it.
We do need more alien movies, in my opinion, though. Abduction movies, like we do. I
we
agree.
Really do. I think it's funny because I bought that Fire in the Sky, or my friend sent it to me, that Fire in the Sky Blu-ray, and that movie's just a fucking, I love that movie so much. My wife is a fourth encounters kind of person, and I'm a Fire in the Sky person because Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. Is that the name of it? Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, where the whole movie is just one big jack off and you don't ever see anything.
Is that what that one is? Is that? I mean, I love all those like Close Encounters. Like I love that
The Close
movie.
Encounters of the Third Kind is the
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg movie
Yep.
where it's like a movie. Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, it's just like you hear a bunch of audio tapes from people. They're telling their stories about being like, you never
Oh
see
yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
I
was.
My wife loves that movie. I'm
Really
just
okay.
like, when are we gonna fucking see something? And I'm a fire in the sky kind of person, right? So I will applaud that we get to see everything in this movie. I'd have to really watch it again,
Right.
but I liked it. I thought it was like I said, for a lot of those people there that, you know, Jordan Peele's got to put his opinions on the world and his fucking movies too much. It's too much in the forefront. It's too much into the story of everything. If you're one of those people, this is probably the Jordan Peele movie review because it's just a fucking movie. Half of the cast is white. If you catch my drift, it's like if you didn't tell me Jordan Peele directed and wrote this movie, I could believe it. It's just a movie. It's not a social commentary. It's just a horror movie, sci-fi horror movie, if you will, which doesn't bother me either way. Because like I said, I'm fine with Get Out. After rewatching Us a couple times, I don't dislike it, but I think I like Get Out a little bit more. Took me a little while to warm up to Get Out, but Nope is a fucking horror film.
It
It's
really
just
is.
that.
I mean,
Now the stuff Garrett's saying, there's certainly you can draw parallels to turning your eyes away from it. You don't have to deal with the crap on the internet, which actually is true. I have friends that don't have social media and they're chipper as all hell.
I hear you. I mean, I same thing, and it can consume you, right? Like these, even in the movie, like it's like that kid that was working at Fry's and stuff. Like this whole thing consumed him, like, and he wasn't even really part of it. So, I wonder that because again, like you said, the social commentary aspect of what we usually see in Jordan Peele's movies wasn't there when it comes to a race thing. But maybe it was there when it comes to these kind of things where it's like, hey, we're not going to go down this road, but I do want to kind of add this because I think this is important, which I kind of think it's important too. It was just kind of a subtle way to kind of throw it out there, which, I think, again, do I think it kind of has relevance? Probably, knowing how he kind of writes, but it was very subtle. And I saw in the chat someone mentioned, and I agree. I personally didn't care for the shape that it took at the end. I wasn't a big fan of that. I wasn't sure what was happening. I wasn't sure if it was getting pissed and transforming or if it was getting destroyed and it was kind of, breaking apart. I couldn't really tell what was happening there. But I don't know. What did you think of that final formation?
It's funny you took the words right out of my mouth. It almost looked like an animated. Like it almost reminded me of one of those Studio Ghibli shows Sydney watches all the time. Those what I'm talking about. Like when it started becoming like this big umbrella looking parachute hot air balloon looking thing. Visually was cool, but this goes back to how often do reveals just let us down? I mean, because the buildup was great. Like I said, when you saw the silhouettes going through the clouds, holy shit. I was like, what the fuck is that thing? But I'm pretty much the same. Again, it's like it's hard to discredit the film for that, but it just is what it is. I like the vacuum thing it was doing where it would just, it was turning off electricity, and it acted like what they described what aliens could do. The guy from Fry's was like, unless you got fucking UFO activity at your house, and that's why you're using. And so it had that same. It affected the world the same way, I guess. But again, it's just like, it's good. It's not bad. It's good, but naturally, I was left wanting something a little bit more frightening looking. Not that it was friendly, but
no, I agree with you. I kind of did too. It kind of was, it's hard to say. Like, CGI to me, too much CGI is a big turnoff for me. I think as the saucer, it looked cool. Like that scene of him on the horse and the thing right behind him, like that was sick, man. And you can say, and it was CGI all day, but it looked freaking incredible. I think when it got too crazy, it kind of started. I wasn't really interested in it that much. Like I was kind of like, like it's very CGI looking monster, or whatever. But it's funny because if you guys don't know who Melting Movies 1 is in here, he did a pretty good review on his channel, and he mentioned that when everybody was getting sucked up into the ship, he just kept thinking of Bruce Willis and the air ducts in in freaking Die Hard as they're all stuck in there. And that was kind of a freaky scene with them all because you weren't sure exactly what the hell was going on. They were all stuck inside this ship, kind of getting swallowed. And I wasn't at that time, the reveal wasn't already there. So you're not sure what the hell's going on here. And then all of a sudden, like one of the people, what would they do? They found the heart or something. When they were getting sucked in, did you remember seeing that? They like touched something and you're like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, I guess that's what that was. I'd have again. I mean, I'll probably buy the movie. You know, I've bought in his previous 2 films, and I'd have to watch this one again to try to understand better what the hell the innards of this thing was. I thought it was like a big jellyfish almost too. You know, it moved and like spread out like a jellyfish. So I almost thought that's what it was, but I never said it out loud until now. You know, it's a jellyfish.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like, was it what are those squids or something in Super Mario, the white ones or whatever? Like,
yeah,
like
no water levels. Yeah,
yeah. So it kind of had a weird feel like that. But I'm definitely want to check this out again. And my next time checking out is probably going to be physical media, and I'm hoping maybe there's some kind of documentary or something in there because
for sure,
man, I'm curious to see like how this was filmed. Like, do you know that the set that ranch set where was the guy's name Stephen Yeun? Is that his name? The guy from Walking Dead there. That
is
had
that who
the
that
ranch,
was?
yeah, that put on the show trying to get the horse to kind of as bait or whatever. But
Right.
that ranch is at Universal Studios in California. Like the whole thing is that's where they filmed it. They left it. So it's like a whole exhibit now where there's people playing, you know, cowboys and you can do all the different rides. And it's pretty badass. You can look at it on YouTube and it's still up. And, you know, there's a whole performance of people that work in that thing and they act like it's a real, like, you know, frontier kind of ranch or whatever. It's pretty sick that they're doing that. And I don't know if it's there for good or it's this just there, you know, now while the movie is kind of going on. But I thought that was really cool place. And I would love to see how it was filmed and stuff because some of the night shots looked so good, man. And like being out there, like, were they really out there? Was a lot of this like CGI backgrounds? Like, I'm curious to see this place that they kind of filmed this because it looked stunning. And I think he always does a great job with, you know, how his movies look. And I thought the whole atmosphere was cool.
Yeah. And hopefully on the physical release, they get that right because I'm thinking about something now. One of the big complaints on Godzilla 2014 on physical media was the Blu-rays, the night times were just dark on screen. And then I got that re-release 4K of Godzilla 2014 and they made it amazing. The night scenes looked phenomenal. Everything is so detailed. You can see everything crystal clear, but it's still clearly nighttime. So hopefully they do that right because this film it has to be transferred properly on physical disc with the nighttime scenes. Otherwise, some of the scenes were dark. I mean, they were fucking dark. So hopefully they get that situated. But I did think of something, a complaint I had. I say a complaint, personal preference about this film. Obviously, our lead is a very quiet guy, right? As we're talking about, and I loved it. And I thought it was played very realistically because I know guys that, I mean, it was creepy how well some of the guys I know at work act the same way. I felt like the sister was written as the loud, brash character to balance that out, and I always feel like I always wonder like if that's what directors feel like they need to do, or why not just have somebody that's just a little bit more talkative, like, and not just so over the top with their shenanigans throughout the character. I didn't dislike the sister, but I was just like, man, why did she need to be toned up that much? I feel like that was done just to compensate the quietness of the lead. It's not that she has to be quiet, but she didn't have to be over. I felt like she was a little over the top. And I would have backed off on that because I think naturally as human beings, we don't just dislike people from the start. We typically give people a chance anyway. So when you have to, overtly make this girl, be loud, goofier and stuff, I was just like, man, we could have toned her down, not change her personality, but she shouldn't need to exude so much with every question she's answering or every piece of dialogue. I would have toned her down like 30%. That's the only thing.
Well, speaking of her, and I guess I was reading that I don't know if it's supposed to be a live action remake or not a cartoon, but an animated. But I guess they were interested in Jordan Peele doing Akira, some kind of either a remake of it or something. And I guess he turned it down and said, right now his focus is on purely original content. He didn't want to do a remake
God
or anything
bless
like
him.
that.
Good.
But
Good.
did you notice? And I don't know if it has to do with it, but at the end on that motorbike, I don't know if you ever seen Akira, but that scene of the dude sliding on the bike is like the one everybody knows about, where he kind of slides on the motorbike and it like goes sideways, and he kind of
That was the reference that he did.
Yeah, so I'm looking, I'm like, dude, that was a definite Akira. Like at first I was like, oh, she does the Akira slide. And then when I went back and was researching this more, I saw something about them saying, they wanted him to do Akira. And I was wondering if that was kind of a nod, which I'm sure it was now,
Sure it was.
to them or whatever. But yeah, like I got to give it to him to kind of want to do original content. I wasn't a big fan of the new Candyman. I don't know how much he had his hand in it at all. I know he helped produce it. I don't know how much more, but when it comes to a remake, I'm thinking, I don't know. A part of me wouldn't mind seeing him tackle like People Under the Stairs or something like that. I think that might be a pretty cool thing to tackle. I don't know if it's something that you would ever want to see a remake of that. I don't know if it's even possible in 2022, but I think his original stuff is up there with some of the modern stuff that we're getting now. But it's always something I was like, he'd be cool one to tackle that movie.
I like Candyman, the new one. Me and my wife were actually talking about this yesterday. We were watching the original on 4K, and I mean that original film, Jesus Christ, from the score to Tony Todd's first appearance in the film, it's nothing like it. With that being said, I do like the remake. They did a different story, but I'll be honest with you, I was very nervous that Peele was already going to become bigger than directing movies, Mr. Producer. Let's put his, like Steven Spielberg in a sense. Steven started producing a lot of stuff and putting his name on stuff. He was still directing movies, obviously, but I was worried that was going to happen. So when I heard about Nope coming out, he wrote it, he directed it. I was like, okay, great. I hope he stays on that because I actually think Peele will only get better, to be honest with you. Again, I do think his praise is he gets some really good press. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but as we talked about, the fact that he has to tell his own fans, stop saying I'm the best director ever, is pretty telling. So I'm so glad that he directed and wrote this movie. And if he keeps doing that, God bless him. I'll be there to see it. So, it's funny. Talking about this movie now, I've got to go back and watch Get Out again. It's been a while, but I didn't remember disliking it. I remember liking Us, but I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, this is the only other thing about Jordan Peele movies. I don't know which ones are going to have good rewatch value because he's kind of got the M. Night thing going on, right? Every movie's kind of got a reveal. And I don't know that that's always the best way to go about stuff, which is why X is clearly a movie I can rewatch a bunch because you know what the hell is going on. It's written on the walls. So it's just how entertaining the film is. So I don't know about the reveal type stuff he does with his movies is going to make them have a lot of rewatch value for me. Not a knock, but just it is what it is. Some M. Night stuff, Signs, I will rewatch that every day, twice on Sunday. Sixth Sense, I'll rewatch it. It's funny, we rewatched Lady in the Water the other day, which I thought was okay. Didn't he do Devil, the elevator movie?
He did.
I thought that was fine. That was fine.
It is funny. So a week from today, I'm going to be doing an M. Night Shyamalan kind of like retrospective ranking list with Dead Pit. But because I think, he was another guy that came out real hot and then almost kind of turned into a big joke. And, you look at someone like Peele, because even M. Night, like he got a lot of press and a lot of publicity for a long time. And, you look at people like Peele, like he's 3 movies in basically, like let's use these as his big 3. And they're all different and they're all good.
Which is good. I'm glad that they're different. He's obviously got ideas in his head. And he's fucking hilarious. You can't tell me if you didn't watch Key and Peele growing up, right? I mean,
I did not.
Dude,
I probably was
hysterical. Hysterical. Yeah, I'm going to send you the link to the Gremlins 2 sketch they did where I won't spoil it too much, but he comes in as this flamboyant producer, and he's like, "All right, Gremlins 2, what are we gonna do for Gremlins 2?" And he goes, "What's your idea?" I don't know. A vegetable gremlin? Vegetable gremlin. It's in the movie. What do you want to do? I'm a wrestling fan. I like Hulk Hogan. He's in the movie, and it shows how insane Gremlins 2 is.
Right, it is.
But
Yeah.
it's hysterical. You've got to see the sketch. He is comedy gold. I mean, he's not Dave Chappelle, but those two guys are funny.
Why don't they get Peele to work on some Gremlins?
I don't know.
Man, somebody should do. I mean, I think Gremlins would be such an easy movie to at least do a part 3. I don't think they should do a remake. I think that would be bad. But I think a part 3 would be cool. I mean, dude, they even did a Mountain Dew commercial that I felt could have went over as
that could be. You remember back in '97, George Lucas put Toys R Us. He put toys at Taco Bell to see testing the waters. See if people are ready for another Star Wars movie, and you couldn't keep those fucking Taco Bell toys in stock. I remember that. My brother probably still has them all in a box somewhere. So
wait, Gremlins toys at Taco Bell?
No, I'm sorry, Star Wars toys.
Oh,
what I'm getting at is,
right.
Lucas put those toys for kids in Taco Bell in the '90s to see if people were still there was this big interest for Star Wars. What happened a few years later? We got Episode 1. So doing these commercials like that, I think, could be testing the waters, seeing the engagement or the feedback from these kinds of commercials, which Gremlins is here to stay. I mean, come on,
Oh yeah, and I think that, and I understand. I see Nick in there. Nick, what's up, man? He's saying that it'll be remade and it'll be CGI and it'll be awful. I think if it's remade and it's CGI, it will be awful. I think that if they can make it almost in the same vein as like what they're doing with Scream series and making it almost a requel and having Galligan in there and
Joe Dante to produce. I know he's an old man now. Joe Dante's top 5 of my favorite directors, but
But I think there might be someone like maybe a Peele or somebody would be somebody that'd be like, listen, if we're gonna do this, like I want in like someone big and really to try to do this movie right, because I think they can kind of get away with it. And CGI, they're gonna do CGI, but they need to be smart with it. Like they need to do practical plus CGI. When the Gremlins are close, practical. When there's a shit ton of them, CGI. But to have
like Anaconda. I rewatched Anaconda not long ago. Dude, there's a lot of practical effects in Anaconda. Some people may be surprised to realize that.
I have not seen that movie in forever.
There is so much. I mean, they built a fucking snake for Anaconda, a big ass snake, and it looks phenomenal. Now, the CGI is actually blended pretty good. When you see the thing move, it's from far back and it goes fast and the shots are quick. But when that son of a bitch comes out of that water, Garrett, that's a fucking mechanical big ass snake. I urge you to go back and rewatch Anaconda. I was shocked at how good they blended those two. They really did. So I'm all for blending.
I mean, they're going to have to. I think that's the only way it's going to make it work. Like, they can't be so lazy. Like, there's movies out there, like even Chucky and stuff, like they blend, and it works. And there's, but at the same time, I feel like I don't watch Marvel movies, but the last one I did, it was so bad during the CGI moments that I was like, I'll never watch one of these again. It was just, I looked like I thought I was watching a video game, and it got me so out of it. I think it was Avengers 2, and I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with these.
I'd have to take your word on it. No disrespect to those films, they're just not my thing, so I never go watch them.
I gave them a chance, but after that, I just couldn't do it anymore. Now, I've always had a soft spot for X-Men. I've always had a soft spot for Spider-Man. So some of them I will continue to watch, but then all the Avengers and all that world, like I'm not, it's too much CGI for my taste. But going back to kind of what we were talking about is Jordan Peele is 3 for 3 right now, in my opinion. I think I definitely need to go back and watch Get Out and Us again. I've seen each of them twice.
I need to watch Get Out for sure.
And I think, what's interesting is, like you mentioned, when the swerve, does that ruin it? And I think like with something like Nope right now, I think his movies are definitely ones that you've got to watch at least twice, because to me, going back and seeing Nope again, I feel like I'm going to get more out of it knowing what's going to happen, because like there's scenes in that movie where you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, the beginning with the keys and stuff going down, you didn't know why that was happening. And now that you do, you're like, okay, it makes sense. Like it's spitting out shit that it doesn't want. Right. And there was another scene where they went out. I think he went out into like the, into the open area, and he saw the lights down there, could hear things, right? But it was that Steven Yeun, I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. Is it Steven? character was practicing his performance with the big spotlights, but I didn't know what was going on down there. I just heard voices, right? Like, so now you know, like, what to listen for, because I didn't know what the heck was going on. So I think it's definitely one to watch again, so you can
Sure.
kind of put some puzzle
Sure.
pieces kind of together.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Now, going back to like other big directors like M. Night Shyamalan, who everybody was hyped behind. I mean, man, like he was so loved. Remember that documentary they did with people like camping outside his house and shit? Remember all that stuff with the Shyamalan?
Oh yeah. Oh,
It was like a
definitely.
cult or something, right? Like a cult or whatever. Now, what were his first movies? Like, did he have 3 bangers in a row before it started to get a little silly? I think, in my opinion, it started to get bad around Village. I think, but I
I
don't remember.
I fucking love Village. That's just
Okay.
me. I know that's a divisive film, but I think cast wise, Joaquin Phoenix, that guy that was the pianist, I forget the
Mhm.
skinny guy with that
Mhm.
that guy's a phenomenal actor. I thought he played like a mentally handicapped guy in the movie to the blind girl, the sister. I loved the twist that it was modern day. I love The Village. To me, his drop off was probably Lady in the Water. But my wife, if you bring up M. Night, she'll say, I like him, but he fucking pissed me off with that Naruto, not Naruto, The
Oh
Last
yeah.
Airbender.
Oh yeah.
My
Yeah.
wife loves that cartoon. My wife is obsessed with that cartoon. She loves it, but she says they changed the character's name in the movie. They pronounce it differently because M. Night was saying this is actually the correct way to pronounce it. And I know that it derailed him. I mean, we were looking into this. She was right. It kind of derailed him for a little while, and he kind of went silent. And
Mm.
then I think he might have made a film or two, and then he came back with The Visit. The Visit fucked me up. I got no
Mhm.
problem in it. That crazy old woman freaked me the hell out. Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
And people used to give me shit for that. Yeah, the movie wasn't scary. Well, I'm a pussy, so
I
whatever.
thought
But
I thought personally, I thought The Visit when I saw it, I thought it was pretty good. And we're gonna find out more when I do the stream about M Night because I have to rewatch some stuff this week. But um, here's the thing: like, what was his first one? His first one was Sixth Sense, banger, right? I was like, that was kind of revolutionary for that time to have some kind of twist like that. It was unheard of,
was that his
and
first film though? I'm just
I
wondering.
I think it was. That's the first, and then I think
I'll look it up.
Unbreakable was next, unless Unbreakable was first. I don't remember, but Unbreakable was another good one. And then I think maybe Signs was 3 or 4. I don't
Signs
remember,
is
but
the goat. To me, Signs
That
is the goat.
was I saw that in theaters when the first night it came out, and I loved it.
Okay,
Um,
check this out. Praying with Anger, haven't seen it. Wide Awake, haven't seen it. The Sixth Sense is his third film, so
okay.
yeah. The fact that I
Now, what
haven't
was
heard
after
any
that one?
do what now?
What was the next big one from the after that one?
Unbreakable was after that. Unbreakable did a monstrous amount of money,
Right.
so that must be. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen Unbreakable or the sequel. What was it called? Um,
Split.
never.
They were both really good, man.
Oh, I
I
saw
recommend you
Split.
checking those out.
Is Split the sequel to Unbreakable?
Kind of. It's like a side story. Glass is kind of where they. Oh yeah. So, all right. So Glass is the
Glass.
sequel, but Glass is the sequel to Split and Unbreakable. They kind of form. Glass is the
Okay,
sequel to both of those. Yeah.
I know people
Um,
like those movies a lot.
I never saw. I haven't seen Glass yet, but Split was good, and Unbreakable is really cool. And Shyamalan, the thing he did, it was so different. It was basically like a superhero movie, but uh based in the real world. Like that's kind of what that movie was, and I think it was very clever at the time. Now, was Signs his next big one after Unbreakable, do you know? Or
No,
am I
Sixth
missing
Sense
some?
was out. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Signs.
Okay, so his
Then
first
Lady, then
three
The
big ones.
Village, then Lady in the Water. This is turning into an M Night video.
And then
The
The
Happening.
Happening. Oh,
The
yeah,
Happening.
okay.
I kind of like The Happening, man.
That's one
I,
I gotta rewatch, this
I
week, and I'm not
you
looking
know
forward to it.
that it's not great, but like there are some tense moments in The Happening. It's not great though, but The Last Airbender, Sydney despises it. It's a sore subject. The Visit was good. Yeah, he only did like he was doing movies every other year, and then he took like a couple years off, and then he did After Earth with Will and Jaden Smith.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
that movie. I saw that
Well,
piece of shit.
you know what's funny is that, I knew the Airbender was a cartoon of some kind. Was it an anime? Was it because I never saw
Yeah,
the
oh,
movie
it was
because I never
monstrous.
saw the show.
It was
So
a Nickelodeon hit. I mean, I grew
oh,
up
okay.
watching it. Sydney loves it, but that movie is a very sore subject, and apparently it was for many people. I think it's one of his lowest rated films ever.
Well, what's funny is that we talked about Jordan Peele, and they really wanted him to do a remake of Akira, which is an anime, right? So you're kind of like, wait, are they trying to put him down the same road here? Maybe that was a good idea. He declined it, but so yeah, so he kind of had three big bangers in a row. Besides those first two, which neither of us really knew, but Signs, Unbreakable, and Sixth Sense are big. Now, how about like someone like Ty West? His big three are what? House of the Devil, Innkeepers, X, and to me, those three are like killer.
My argument, though, for that, I would agree. Fan base wise, yeah.
You gonna say The Roost?
No. To me, I've rewatched. I went about a week or so ago. I went and rewatched every Ty West film I could see, including Cabin Fever 2. To me, the best Ty West film is still The Sacrament.
Oh, I love The Sacrament.
So that's my number one.
So that's right. That was before. So it was when was Cabin Fever 2? Probably before Sacrament then, right?
Oh yeah, I think that was pretty early with Ty, I think.
Was that before House of the Devil as well?
I could look that up. House of the Devil was 2009, if memory serves, which is actually an interesting time for a movie like that to come out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think The Sacrament is one of the most compelling, well-made. I mean, it's so good you forget you're watching a found footage movie, which is the trait of a good found footage movie.
I agree. The guy that played like
Jim Jones.
Oh, dude, he was so good in that.
Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen The Sacrament, I can proudly and confidently say I still think that The Sacrament is his best film. Every time you watch it, you are on the edge of your seat. I mean, it's just so good. So one of the best found footage movies. I mean, I'd put it in top 10.
I like it a lot.
So
yeah. Now, just really quick, I'm trying to think of like Ari Aster. Is he only Hereditary, Midsommar? Those are two of the big horror ones. Has he done anything else?
It's funny. I've gone back and rewatched. Let me see. Ari. He didn't do the.
You're gonna tell me you didn't like Midsommar, aren't you?
No, I loved it when I saw it. I don't dislike it, but I certainly every time I go back and watch Midsommar. Okay, he's got a movie coming out called Disappointment Boulevard, but Midsommar and Hereditary is only two. All I was gonna say was when I go back and watch Midsommar, I don't dislike it, but it's fine. I like Midsommar. I think there are certainly some great moments, and it's beautifully shot. But Hereditary, in 20 years, you'll be buying, if there's still physical media, you'll be buying a new version of that film. That film only gets better every time I watch it. So I feel that movie was so good that I don't think Ty West is ever going to top it. How? Tell me how you top Hereditary. I don't think he can.
It's going, like you said, it's going to go down as a classic. Like, to me, that falls in like some of the classics that we as horror fans remember, like The Changeling and all this other stuff. Like, to me, I think Hereditary is always going to be something that's going to stand the test of time because
1000%.
It's just so dark. It's so different. And I love it. But and I, you know what? I saw X in theaters. I haven't watched it since because I am not going to buy the Blu-ray because I'm like, dude, this is coming out in 4K and I'm not going to make that mistake again. So I'm waiting for a cool edition of it. But I still think that's been my favorite movie that I've seen recently in probably the last 2 years, I would think. But again, I've only seen it that one time, but I was pretty blown away with it when I saw it. And I think, Ty West is just, he's money right now. And I can't wait to kind of check that sequel out. And I know we're supposed to be talking about Jordan Peele, but to me, that's all kind of in the same vein because it's very modern horror that's getting, these wide releases.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, guys, Christian, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say, but if you're just kind of getting in, we were talking really about Nope and kind of dissecting the movie. So there was a lot of spoilers in here. And, I'll show this one more time for people who just kind of coming in is that, yesterday I was thinking a lot about it and reading up on some stuff. And part of me was like, shit, like, we all seem to have gone into this thinking we were getting an alien abduction movie of some kind. And it kind of swerved us into be like, hey, you think this is what it's about, but this is actually a creature feature. And I thought that was a pretty interesting swerve. And at first, I just really wasn't into the swerve at the time. But the more I kind of started thinking about it, I was like, hey, was was this what he was trying to tell us the whole time? And if you didn't check it, I'll post it up really quick. Is these are some of the movie posters images that I found on Google, and I'm like, look at if he wasn't trying to tell us that we were getting Jaws of the Sky, it was very overlooked by all of us. So I think that's kind of a pretty cool little nod here,
Mhm.
if it's intentional or not. And I think Jordan Peele's smart enough to be like, like I was hinting that this was what it was going to be the whole time, but nobody, really looked into it that hard. So if you guys are just checking that out, I thought that was kind of a cool thing I wanted to put up there tonight.
Yeah.
But Christian, before we bounce, man, thanks again for popping on. And anything else you want to talk about when it comes to the movie? Maybe is there anything we missed that you want to kind of touch upon, or you think at this point it's just rewatch and kind of put all the pieces together?
100% rewatch and put it all together, and we could talk more about the movie down the road when we can see it again. The only thing of pure excitement that I do want to mention to all the CHH viewers out there, first of all, fuck Garrett, because he has everything that I possibly want in my collection. But I managed to get my hands on Freddie's Greatest Hits, the vinyl. So I'm gonna make a killer video on that. That's what I'm really excited about right now.
That's cool, man.
But as far as the movie goes, definitely go see it, guys. Well, if you're here, you've seen the movie. I liked it. I thought it was good. I think Peele is only going to get better. Whether you like the movies more than his previous stuff, it's clear that he's got a vision. And look, let's be honest with you. There are not many directors out there nowadays that are unfuckable with by the studios, and I think Peele was one of those guys where if he puts money in the hands of the uppers, they'll leave him alone. The second that stops happening, that's where the control, I think, will come in. So, that's why Ty West doesn't get fucked with. Ty West makes a Ty West movie. So
that's a
go
great
see
point.
The movies, guys. Go see them, because you want to see movies created by guys and not be touched with. Why do you think John Carpenter is John Carpenter?
Right.
Nobody touched his shit. And then when he left the big studios, quite frankly, because his movies weren't making money, but he went on Charles Band's podcast and basically condemned 21st Century Fox for what they did with Big Trouble in Little China. There's always one producer that's trying to change everything. So what happens after that, Garrett? He goes back to independent movies, and all those fucking movies get collector's editions, recollector's editions, 4K. It's because they stand the test of time. Studios don't create good movies. Artists and directors and writers do.
I mean, you're on point, but you know what? Let's just swerve to that really quick, unless you gotta bounce. But because we're still under an hour. But
I do have to get going. But go ahead.
All right. So again, I think all time John Carpenter is probably one of the greatest, and it's sad that he never got to the level that he should have been. And you brought up what happened to Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know what the story is behind that.
Go listen to Charles Band's podcast with John Carpenter. I tell people all the time, Charles Band has the best podcast out there besides Unita. But what's
it called?
Full Moon Freak Show.
Okay.
It's on Spotify, everything. Actually, the episode is on Full Moon's website. And he, because Charles is like, I fucking love Big Trouble in Little China. And John's like, oh, that goddamn producer. He's like, I'll do anything you want me to do if you ask nicely, but don't fucking change stuff behind my back. You're going to piss me off. So he talks about it a little bit. And people want a sequel all the time. And John's like, you're not getting a sequel. It tanked. It doesn't work like that. You didn't go see it. So you're not getting a sequel, guys, because you didn't go to the fucking theater to see it. Doesn't matter how well it does on home video, apparently.
So what's your next big release you're looking forward to? I mean, you know what? I'm going to say I'm looking forward to Ends. When it came to the trailer, it just didn't do much for me. But I think the what the hell is going to happen here is like really got me intrigued.
I think anybody that denies that is just lying to themselves a little bit, because what the fuck is this movie going to be? There's an imposter, Michael. I've been screaming to the moon. I want something just different. I want to be able to see something different, and I think this could, whether it gives it to us or not, whatever, but the journey is phenomenal. I mean, there's so much conversation right now, and it's like, oh my God. And the fact that Jamie Lee called the last one a masterpiece and obviously it wasn't. I mean, I like the film, but it's come on, what is this? It's not exactly The Godfather. Right. But and the fact that she's saying this one's going to piss people off, I think there could be some balance there with the opposite of her talking. So this movie, I think people might actually really like it.
Yeah,
she's saying it's going to piss us off.
I'm certainly interested, and I'm a fan of Kills as well. I actually rewatched it the other night, and it's a fun ride. Except you know what, like that hospital scene is a real. I watch that now, and I'm like, ugh. Like that scene needs to just go away. It was bad, but I think as a whole, I think Kills to me is
It's a
more
bloodbath.
entertaining than
Yeah.
2018 was.
Sure,
It's a
sure.
funner ride. It's a quicker ride, but yeah, I'm really intrigued by Ends as the next big one. And you know, I was planning to go see Monsters, so you know, I'll
I'm
probably
gonna
pick
buy the
that up
Blu-ray.
when it
You can
comes
get the
out.
Blu-ray. I think you get the Blu-ray before the movie comes out.
Yeah, it's like $15 right now on Amazon.
Get the
So I mean,
Blu-ray, Garrett.
oh, no question, I'm gonna.
You
That's
know what I
that's the way
mean?
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. But
yeah.
I'm interested in that as well. But hey, man, I'll let you
Sure.
get going. Thanks again for coming and you know, kind of helping me nitpick this thing. I know you're fresh out of
Absolutely.
it, so
Yeah.
like we said, guys, if you're just getting in now, go back and watch from the beginning when we sign off. But appreciate you guys come in. I saw some new people in here, which is cool. So guys,
Subscribe,
just
guys. Subscribe.
yeah, and subscribe over at Christian's if you're not on his channel. It's Planet CHH. Go sub over there. He's always got good stuff going. It's one of the channels I watch religiously. Always love what he brings to the table. So it was cool to have him on here. So again, guys, sub to me, sub to him, and hopefully we can entertain you going forward with some of the cool stuff that we have on both ends of the channels here. So, guys, this is Garrett signing off. Christian, you got anything to say? One last word, brother.
No, just thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time, whatever the next time is.
And like always, stay